Welcome back to yet another Final Fantasy Brave Exvius banner review. Today we're going to be going over the Deus Ex Mankind Divided collaboration with Final Fantasy Brave Exvius banner. It's got some cool things in here. There's some very new and unique units. Some were borderline broken, but thankfully they were pulled back from the brink of disaster to destroy the game. We'll get into that, what could have been. Okay, but let's get into it here. We're going to go over the 3-star base here, 5-star max. We got Frank, Pritchard, 3-star base, 5-star max. He's going to have to do some nice utility stuff for him to be available and useful to you and your team. His TMR, though, first and foremost, is Cerebral Augmentation. It does give you HP and MP plus 15% and 20% lightning resistance, so not anything that you need to necessarily farm like crazy. The times you're going to use this is basically for the lightning resistance. HP and MP plus 15% is pretty old for where we are now in the game. Now his statistics don't really matter too much because he's 5-star max. And even in the 6-star meta, you wouldn't be using him for much damage or anything like that. No elemental weaknesses or resistances. You can use throwing weapons, guns, fist weapons, and daggers with some decent armor selection as well. Now I'll get into his abilities here real quick. He's got some blind and confusion. He's got defense and break resistance. That's fine. He's got a Libra with a 50% defense break. And then we have right here X head of cybersecurity. So this is something that you may find useful for him. If the cast is pretty much every turn, though, it's imbue lightning to physical attacks for 1 turn only. Okay, but it's for anyone on your team, and then also decreases lightning resistance for 1 turn to all enemies, but only by 30%. So if you're looking for some sort of lightning imbuer and you don't want to use dash or enhanced dash because he should be getting his enhancements really soon, then X head of cybersecurity might be something that you want to do. Outside of that, though, he's got a random damage mitigation. This is not that good. I mean, it's minimum 20%, goes up to 30%. You can use it on turn 1. That's cool and all, but that's pretty much it. Then he's got the ability to give anyone on your team physical 50% machine killer for physical damage only, okay, for 3 turns to 1 ally. So that's kind of neat there, but outside of that, that's pretty much all he does. He does have camouflage and reduce encounter rate, so maybe if you're farming Bahamut's Isle or something like that, or maybe going through the new Madam's Mansion, he might be Madam's Mansion. He might be someone you want to throw on your team. But that's about it. His LB, don't max it out. It goes to 39%. That's not that good. Okay, it's a buff and a break, not that good. Basically though, kind of passable. Maybe use him for the lightning buff and imbue. That's about it. Now we have Kohler here. His TMR here is the Time Machine's secrets. HP and attack by 20% and 5% physical dodge. So maybe if you're missing, 5% more dodge, you can get this and put it on there. Or maybe you have a 10% dodge on like a Warrior of Light or something. And you need another 10%. You can use Time Machine Secrets with, in conjunction, the new Tetra Sylphlete Esper to get that last 10% dodge that you need. So don't count that off, but maybe that's something you want to do. Maybe it's something you need. So moving in here, his stats, 6-star max, 4-star base, nothing super exciting. He needs to be some kind of like strong support, not really a damage dealer. If he's a damage dealer, he needs some super chaining capabilities. So take a look here. Reboot system, some status effects. That's not the greatest. Toy gun experimentation. Not that fantastic. He's got 3-hit, 4-hit, 3-hit, 4-hit. So all of his damage dealing skills, not that strong. He's got mitigate 10% damage taken. That's not good enough. Augmentation, fortification, defense and spirit buff to himself, heal himself, and give himself black market augmentations. Not that great. He's got self lightning imbue, and it's got a 50% imperil. If this was lightning imbue for 5 turns to anyone, maybe that'd be worth talking about putting it on your team. But since it's for himself, he's not really doing that much damage, guys. His multipliers are not insane. Now he's got Guild Finder, so maybe you put him in a raid if you get access to him. Chance to ignore fatal damage, but as you can see, nothing too stand out here. His unlockable skills, 6% defense and spirit break. That's pretty cool. Physical damage right here, 2.5 times multiplier, ignore 25% defense. So this is going to be 33% more damage. And the chaining family, as you can see here, is Octaslash. I appreciate you, FFBE Wiki, starting to do this kind of stuff, although usually you can just see it right here. Now his LB here, lightning physical damage, 4.2 times multiplier. So all in all, not that great of a unit. Hopefully the 5 stars will be much better. So let's try to see what we can get there. Now, first one here is the Viktor Marchenko. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, if I'm phonetically correct, but who knows? This guy was almost broken. We'll get to that in a second. So TMR here is the energy converter. Increase your HP by 20%, your defense by 30%, give you 10% auto refresh, and 1,800 HP heal per turn. This is absolutely fantastic if you're trying to tank some content. Gives you that nice auto HP heal. A lot of the Physical tanks don't really have that. It's got HP on it. It's got a lot of defense on it. And it's got 10% MP recovery in case your provokes and stuff are pretty expensive. You make you very self-sufficient on being able to provoke every single turn, especially for those fights where you're provoking like a single target, MP drain, and your tank's going to tank that, go to 0 MP, and then they'll be able to keep the provoke up over time, get that 10% MP refresh at the end of each turn. Now his defense stats here, 7-star base. After pots, he's going to have 208 plus 50, so 258 defense. Pretty important there. He's going to have over 200 spirit, and that's pretty much it. His HP stats going to be insane. He gets 600 HP in pots there, so almost 5.6k. So it's going to be 5,550 HP, I think. No elemental weaknesses, no resistances. He can use knives, axes, hammers, swords, guns, flails, fist weapons, and then the one that almost broke him, throwing weapons. This almost was too strong. Okay, but it's okay. It's okay. It's not broken, I promise. So he's got heavy shields, light shields, traditional tank armor, no clothing, no robes. Keep that in mind. Now let's go over his skills here. He's got the Peps knockback, 3.0 multiplier. He's got a 50% magic spirit break, 50% attack defense break. So that's kind of cool there. Nothing too insane. Orchid, physical damage, 2 times multiplier per turn. Okay, for 5 turns. So this is something that's pretty interesting. It's basically a 10 times multiplier because it's a damage over time effect. Take two, take two, take two. Kind of decent to have on your tank, but nothing too insane there. Now he's got Showdown, 100% provoke for 5 turns with 100% attack and defense buff for 5 turns. And it increases his LB gauge by 1 to 4. Pretty nice there. Okay, 100% provoke. He's got Implanted Rebreather, cures all status elements to the caster, increases resistance to all status elements by 100% for 3 turns. Cures stat break, stop, and charm. I don't know why stop and charm are here, because if you're stopped or charmed, you're not gonna be able to cast skills. So you're not curing stop and charm with this. I don't care if the skill says that it cures it. You literally cannot cast it, and if you can't cast it, guess what? You're not getting any of these effects. So I don't know why Stop and Charm are there, but he can remove his attack, defense, magic, and spirit break. He also gets 100% resistance to attack, defense, magic, and spirit break for 3 turns. Increase your charm resistance and your stop resistance by 100% for 3 turns as well. So this is absolutely insane. Removes every sort of negative status effect, status ailment, break, anything in the game, and then makes him immune to it as well. So that's awesome. Absolutely insane. You have to use it as a skill, though. It's not a passive. Sadly, it's not just immune to all this stuff normally. Be a little broken, though. He's got Biocell Restoration. Self-heals himself for 10,000 HP and 200 MP. So very self-sufficient on healing there. Pro Augmentation and Pro Human. Both of them are 4.0 multipliers with defense scaling to 1 enemy. And then Augmentation gives you 75% Human Killer. Pro Human gives you 75% Machine Killer. Okay. So that's pretty strong there. Now he has Confrontation, which is another 100% provoke for 5 turns, and mitigate 25% damage for 5 turns as well. The mitigate damage thing's kind of cool, but a lot of you guys are going to have 30% damage mitigation from some sort of support on your team, either now or into the future. So not that broken. It's kind of cool there, but it's not going to stack with your supports, 30% or more all damage mitigation. So it's something to think about. You might be better off just using Showdown for the LB gauge mainly, because you're going to have the 100% attack and defense buff anyhow. But if you don't have that stuff, you can pick between the two. He's got Takedown here, which is physical damage 7.5 times multiplier with defense scaling to 1 enemy. It's a single hit chain finishing skill. He's got Security System, 6.5 times multiplier that scales with your defense for your attacking skill. And the chain family here is Oral Ray, so you can chain with like Lunara, you can chain with Kunshira, stuff like that. It's 30 hit chaining skill. Does work with Dual Wield, all right, because it's a physical attack that does damage with the multiplier based off of your defense. Now, his cooldown skills here, he's got Icarus Dash, 5-turn cooldown available on turn 5. Physical damage, 18.5 times multiplier with defense scaling to 1 enemy, and 75% lightning and peril for 3 turns as well. Plasma Bolt, 18.5 multiplier as well, and this is fire resistance down for 3 turns, okay, instead of lightning resistance. And he's got Augmented Titan, available on turn 1, 3-turn cooldown, 100% chance to provoke, mitigate physical damage by 20% for 2 turns to the caster, and then give you an HP barrier of 4,000 to yourself for 2 turns. Absolutely crazy skill. You can start the game off with this. It's physical damage, so like I said about the other provoke that does all damage mitigation. Physical damage mitigation's pretty rare for right now to have on like units that you're using as like a support. So you can start the fight off with great the HP barrier, the 20% damage mitigation, and your provoke. Super awesome there. Moving on though, we got cybernetic Prothesis. Oh my god. I want to say prosthetics, but we'll go with this. Enables dual wielding of one-handed weapons, and then attack an HP plus 20%. Counter gives you a chance to counter with a normal attack, 30% there. Revolutionist, attack and defense, 150% buff for 2 turns when your HP drops below half. This will probably proc relatively easily due to the fact that he's going to be tanking. So if you take a decent amount of damage, you can go below half, proc this, and it'll last for the rest of the fight. Titan armor, increase defense by 50% when equipped with heavy armor. Augmented prosthetics. Oh, I see. Defense plus 30%, spirit plus 20%. If you have his TMR equipped, was that very nice defense and HP TMR. Gives you 30% more attack and 30% more defense, and then increases your equipment defense by 40% when dual wielding. So this is true dual wield defense, guys. So this is what Gabranth would have if we would have had Gabranth over here. So it's pretty cool there. You're gonna get a lot of defense from that. I think you can hit like 1600 defense with him. So keep that in mind. Spirit plus 20%, and then Mark of the Illuminati, defense, HP, and MP plus 20%, and then increase the modifiers. This says ×2. Don't be fooled. This does not double the modifier. Adds a 2 to the modifier for pro augmentation, pro human, and takedown. So no, so takedown is not going to become a 15 times mod. It becomes a 9.5 times mod, which is still very significant. His LB here, the Hyperion Plasma Blast, physical damage if you max out 15 times multiplier with defense scaling to all enemies, 22 limit burst crystals. So how good is he? What does he do? So basically, his main drawback is he does not have an AoE physical cover, which is a drawback, don't get me wrong, but for most fights, you're going to be wanting to bring a single target provoke physical tank, right? Whether it's dodge or someone who can actually tank the damage, in an AoE magic cover tank, because you can't AoE cover both magic and physical damage at the same time. So he's going to fulfill his role that he's going to need to fulfill quite well, right? He only needs to provoke tank for most encounters. There will be maybe like, I'm talking like 99% of the encounters, you just want to provoke tank, okay? Now, that being said, like, how well does he fulfill his role of tank that does damage? He does it pretty damn well. These multipliers are insane, and the reason why he would have been broken, he would have been the best chain finisher / maybe even chainer in the game for a while, due to the fact that he can wear throwing weapons. Now, sadly, physical attacks that scale with your defense do not use your weapon variance in it. So all of his hard-hitting skills do not, and I repeat, do not work with fixed dice. If they did, with proper support, Omega Weapon Trial came out, you could lightning imbue him with fixed dice. Go a high defense build, hit like 1600 defense still with fixed dice. Lightning imbue him, give Omega like another minus 100% lightning imperil. This guy's got the machine killer in his kit, that he can get right here. You give him a little bit more machine killer because he hits the defense cap so easily. And you could chain cap him with Icarus Dash or his LB or something and one-shot Omega. That's how broken he would have been. He would have been a one-shot Omega weapon by himself. But thankfully, he can't do that. So how good is he, though? You still give him dual wield. All of his stuff still works with dual wield. He's got that true dual wield defense. He's going to be able to tank damage for you super well. All right, physical damage. And he's going to be able to chain finish for you as well on top of that. You're going to be able to spam, what is it? I want to say showdown. No, takedown. You can be able to spam takedown with a 10.0 multiplier on your tank chain finish. So that's a lot of damage. That's still dual wielding 2 takedowns, 10.0 multiplier with high defense, like 1500 before buffs. So like we're talking like 1700, 1800 with decent gear after buffs. That's just a free chain finisher on your team. So he's going to give you a lot of extra damage for free. He's already fulfilling the role that you need as a physical provoke tank. And on top of that, he's going to be doing a bunch of damage. He's self-sufficient on healing. He's self-sufficient on status ailments. He does a lot of stuff. He's super awesome. He brings some imbues for you. He doesn't bring imbues. He brings imperils. Super awesome, cool guy. Augmented Titan is going to allow him to survive a lot of threshold attacks because he's going to get that 4,000 HP barrier. So we're talking like, you get him to like 13, 14, 15k HP, 1500, 1600, 1700 defense after buffs, and a 4,000 HP barrier. You're not dying to any sort of threshold attack with this guy, and you're dishing out a bunch of damage. So I think he's really strong. How future-proof is he? He's super slot efficient, which makes him very, very nice. He's going to be able to give you a bunch of extra damage on your team while fulfilling his already important role. And that's super important to me when I'm looking at building at teams, is how many things does this guy do for me? And this guy does a super important thing. And then if you need that extra damage, which a lot of you guys might, He's pretty easy to build. Defense isn't that hard to get access to. Does a bunch of damage for you as well. So look forward to that guy. He's pretty dang strong. Viktor Marchenko, excuse me. All right, now last but not least, definitely not, is Adam Jensen. Adam Jensen's bringing a FFBE, a mechanic, to the max power, the highest tier, the highest echelon, way before we thought we would get access to something like this. So his TMR here is the TF29 Agent. Okay, increase your equipment attack by 20% when dual wielding. So this is 20% true dual wield. Not insane. I know it's not like Nagi's TMR if you watched my sneak peek guide on that, but it also does increase attack by 30% when equipped with a gun, a sword, a throwing weapon, or a fist. And yes, these do stack, so you're going to get 20% true dual wield in 60% attack. Now the TMR itself does not stack. All right, you can't wear 4 TF29 agents, but for Adam Jensen himself, you don't really need it to stack. His super TMR here is the Jensen's Trench Coat, 35 attack, 20 defense, 20 spirit, and SWAT specialist, which gives you 50% additional attack if you're using a gun. His super TMR, very, very nice, especially if you're a gun user. Absolutely fantastic for someone like Olive. Has got some nice attack on it. Gives you that 50% gun mastery. Look forward to using that on Olive or Jensen, okay, in the coming months when we get the 400% attack cap. Now his stats here, let's look at his attack stat, 203 base with 65 in pots, all right? So that 406 that we saw from the unit preview was said 406. It was just his passives unpotted. That 406 was based off his 203. So he's going to have 268 base attacks. So this guy's going to be a monster. So let's get into it here. I'm pretty excited. His daggers, he's got dagger, swords, throwing weapons, okay? Guns, maces, and fist weapons. He's got some nice armor. He's got clothing. He's got light armor. He's got helms and hats. No heavy armor, sadly, and this man does not want to be wearing robes, you know what I'm saying? All right, so let's get into here. Stealth Enhancer. Stealth Enhancer, negate 3 physical damage for yourself for 3 turns. It's whatever. Wall Breaker, 60% defense break. Pep's Knockback, 3.0 multiplier. Smart Vision, 45% full break. That's pretty decent. Tesla here looks underwhelming. It's going to be one of his go-to bread and butter filler skills. I'm going to call it a filler skill. It's not what the unit's based around, but it gives you something to do. Now, it's lightning damage, 3.5 times multiplier. 6-hit skill, so it doesn't really chain with a lot. I think it chains with Hollowed Bolt from Orlando, and obviously it can chain with another Jensen. So it's a drawback, but it's not that big of a drawback, right? If the unit's broken, is it really a downside that you need to bring another broken unit, right? Maybe in 10 mans, but outside of that, super insane. 50% lightning imperil, and then 60% chance to inflict paralyze. Now that 3.5 multiplier is really low, but it'll be higher later on, trust me. Now we got wide band frequency jammer. Increase physical damage against machine monsters by 100% for 3 turns of the cast turn. Does a 1.0 mod. So he can give himself more machine killer. That's cool. He's got the implanted rebreather as well. Same thing as Victor. He's going to remove charm and stop somehow, because I don't know how you cast that skill. But it gives you the break resistance, removes your breaks, removes all your status ailments, makes you immune to stop, makes you immune to charm. So that's pretty cool there. Now he's got the quick silver reflex booster. Chance to instant KO or deal a 3.0 mod and physical damage. Nothing great there. Titan to give himself a 3.5k HP barrier for 3 turns. Then we have Nanoblade here. Nanoblade allows him to be a very efficient chain finisher. Sadly, it's not a chaining skill. It would have been probably too broken if it was a chaining skill. So it's a 1-hit skill. Physical damage 3.0 modifier with consecutive damage increase. You can increase it 11 times at another 1.0 modifier each, up to a total with the base and the damage stacks of 11 times, up to a 14 times modifier to 1 enemy. Very, very strong. Now he's got Explosive Heat Blade. Okay, 5 turn cooldown available on turn 5. It's a single hit skill. Fire physical damage 12 times mod to 1 enemy with 100% fire resistance down. Okay, remote hacking. We're going to skip Typhoon Explosive. We're going to go to remote hacking. 5 turn cooldown available on turn 5. Increase physical damage against machine monsters by 75% to yourself for 1 turn. Okay. It also is a physical damage 17 times mod. Also a 1-hit skill. And then here comes, he gets a bunch of power right out of the gate with Typhoon Explosive System. 6 turn cooldown, but you can use it on turn 1. Decrease fire resistance by 75% for 3 turns to 1 enemy, and does fire physical damage 12 times modifier to all enemies. It's a 12-hit skill, and for all you tornado lovers, it does chain with tornado, but you're probably going to be doing fire damage with this. It does an elemental chain. All right, so for 10 mans, though, you can make it haphazardly chain with tornado if you do want to. So that kind of eliminates his he only chains with other Adams with Tesla kind of thing. You can only use it every once in a while, but let me tell you, 12 times mod with 75% fire resistance. And if you're dual wielding, you'll cast this twice, even though it's a cooldown skill, guys. All right. So keep that skill in mind. Now, mechanical augmentations enables dual wielding of one-handed weapons with 20% attack as well. He gets poison and disease immunity, 20% more HP, 30% more attack, resistant to blind here with flash suppressant. Energy converter gives him 10% auto refresh. Healthy system gives him more HP and some HP regen per turn. Then we have the Juggernaut collective agent. Now, this is what makes him a very, very, very good unit. Okay. Increases equipment attack by 60% when dual wielding. You have to have your TMR equipped, which gives you another 20%. So you're looking at 80% true dual wield. The cap in JP for true dual wield is 100%. This guy almost hits the cap with just his own TMR. All right, increase attack, defense, and spirit by 20%. And then he uses Juggernaut collective agent at the start of the battle. And then he's got Rhino Dermal Armor, which is a defense and HP buff. And he's got Focus Enhancements, which gives him another 50% attack. And then it increases the modifier by 2.0, not double, but plus 2.0 to Nanoblade, Peps Knockback, Quicksilver Reflect Booster, and Tesla. So this is going to make Nanoblade at max stacks a 16 times mod and Tesla a 5.5 times modifier, which, to be fair, is a little bit lower. Okay, it's about 2.0 lower in modifier compared to other 7-star skills like Quick Hit, you know, +2, or the Enhanced Divine Ruination and stuff like that. But 5.5 mod isn't terrible, especially when you can see how high this man's attack can get. Now, the Juggernaut collective agent is an HP barrier of 2,000 for 3 turns to the caster. Then his LB here is the Icarus Dash Charge Dash, all right, which is 10.4 times modifier with a Nord defense 50% to one enemy. Decrease lightning resistance by 100% for 3 turns to one enemy as well. So it doesn't work very well with his True Dual Wield kit, but 20.8 times modifier with 100% lightning damage or lightning and peril is insanely strong. Does cost a lot here with 34 LB crystal. So just how good is our man Adam Jensen going to be? Is he worth pulling on? Well, he's going to be exceptionally easy for you to build. He's going to be incredibly strong. He's going to have access to 80% true dual wield. If you get 2 of them, you throw them together, you mash them together, you get his TMR for free from the raid Moogle. So if you're a Deus Ex fan and you want to use Adam Jensen and you've been brought over to the game for that reason, you do end up getting 2 of them. He's going to be very easy for you to build. Just take 2 really high attack weapons, maybe, you know, Eigan arm for the Eigan trial, who Adam will be able to beat relatively easily for you. And you can probably get up to, I want to say, around 2,300 attack after buffs with his dual wield build. Okay, that is before item world buffs. So that's incredibly strong. If you want to use him as a fixed dice unit, you can go ahead and do that too. I know he has no true double hand passively, but he does have a lot of throwing weapon attack buffs. So you can get a bunch of throwing weapon attack buffs on him, and then just smash all your true double hand gear on him with fixed dice. And you can be an incredibly effective chain finisher for you. You can stack up Nanoblade to eliminate 10-man bosses like crazy, or use his cooldown skills right here, the explosive heat blast or remote hacking for late turn giant damage bonuses to people, or his own LB with the 20.0 multiplier. Or if you want to start OTKing things, turn 1, you don't even need to imbue them. You just do a fire imperil, bring 2 atoms, and have them chain Typhoon explosive system on turn 1 with fixed dice, and this man can hit up to like 1,700 attack before buffs with fixed dice. So you're looking at like 1,850 attack after buffs with fixed dice. Fire physical damage 12 times modifier, chain in skill with the fire damage. He's gonna be able to eliminate so many things for you. So he's a very flexible unit. You can maximize him with true double hand and fixed dice if you wanted to do that for right now. You can maximize him with true dual wield and hit that 300 attack, or you can, if you're a new player, start off and hit like 18, 19, 2,000 attack after buffs with your dual wield and be able to do a lot of damage. He's got a lot of really high multipliers, a lot of really self-sufficient skills. So should you pull on this banner, if you're a super friend, super fanatic of Deus Ex, you can't go wrong with these units. They'll be usable for quite a long time. True Dual Wield only gets better over time. It does have its own disadvantages with that 100% True Dual Wield cap, but you can more than make up for that. Viktor is going to be a very nice tank. I think Viktor, in my opinion, it's hard to say which one's better. I think I like Viktor more personally because he does a lot of cool things for team building, right? Like I talked about, he can be the tank for you and give you a bunch of free damage that you normally wouldn't get from that tank slot, and that's what makes Viktor really appealing to me. But Adam's good as well. Now, if you're prepping for super future-proof content, the only reason I see you for pulling on this banner is like Adam's really good, but you can find people comparable to him or better than him later down the road. We all know CG Heel's coming, but Viktor, there's not really anyone that can do kind of what Viktor does outside of maybe Gabranth, and Gabranth is really cool and really good. I can't remember off the top of my head what Gabranth's multipliers are, but I'm pretty sure they're not 18.5 multipliers with a 10.0 spammable defense multiplier like Viktor does. So if you're looking for the best of the best, the best of the best, the best of the best team for your troubles, where you want to do damage with everyone on your party, you know, a free chain finisher that does very good damage like Viktor Marchenko could be something that you want to invest in for the long term, because it's going to give you just that much extra damage when you go to tackle content. So all in all, if you're a fan, pull. If you're waiting for a heal and you want like traditional damage dealers, hold off. And if you want to have some crazy team composition fun, Viktor Marchenko, while not going to break the game in half with fixed dice like I thought maybe he would, is still incredibly strong and very versatile in what he can do for you in your party. So that's going to be it for this one, guys. If you want to see more content, go ahead, hit the sub button. More stuff's coming out down the pipeline for sure. If you want to see previous content, go ahead and check out the playlist sections. And I'll see you guys in the next one.